I got caught between two brothers, and it changed my life forever. Chapter 1. The Perfect Life. Emily gazed out the window of her bright kitchen, sipping her coffee as golden sunlight streamed in, warming her skin. The familiar sounds of the bustling neighborhood faded into the background as she focused on the peaceful scene before her. She turned her gaze to her husband, Alex, who was deeply engrossed in his newspaper, his brow slightly furrowed and his hair a charming mess. "Good morning, sleepyhead," Emily called, trying to inject some cheer into her voice. Alex looked up, a smile breaking across his face. "Morning, I was just reading about the new cafe opening downtown. They say they have the best pastries in town." Emily chuckled, feeling a familiar warmth in her chest. "We should check it out this weekend. A little adventure, maybe." "That sounds great. Just the two of us?" He raised an eyebrow, clearly intrigued. "Yeah, just us. It could be fun to break our routine," she suggested, her heart racing at the idea. Yet, a part of her felt restless, yearning for something deeper than just a weekend outing. "Perfect. I'll make the reservations," Alex said, leaning over to kiss her cheek. But as he turned back to the paper, Emily felt a pang of longing for more than just routine moments. Beneath the surface, she craved passion and excitement, elements that had been slowly fading from their lives. "Alex," she began, hesitating. "Do you ever think about us? About our life together?" He paused, glancing at her with concern. "Of course, what's bothering you?" "I don't know, I just feel like something's missing," she admitted, her voice barely above a whisper. "Missing? Like what?" "Because I think we have a pretty great life," he said, reassuringly. Emily forced a smile, but inside, she felt the tension building. "I know we do, but sometimes I think we could use a little more spontaneity." Alex chuckled lightly. "I guess that's fair. Life can be predictable sometimes. What do you say we shake things up? How about a spontaneous weekend trip?" The suggestion made her heart race. "That sounds nice." "I'll think about it," she replied, but her mind drifted elsewhere. Could spontaneity be the answer to the craving that simmered within her? As the day unfolded, she continued to watch Alex, appreciating his good looks and easygoing nature, but a nagging feeling persisted. It was as if she were living in a movie, playing a role that no longer felt authentic. In her mind, she began to fantasize about a life filled with passion and adventure, something she hadn't truly felt in years. Chapter 2. A Chance Encounter. The weekend family gathering had finally arrived, and Emily felt out of place among the laughter and clinking glasses. The house was filled with relatives, their voices rising and falling like waves, but Emily felt adrift, her mind elsewhere. Her sister-in-law, Claire, was the center of attention, regaling the crowd with her witty jokes and infectious laughter, while Alex mingled effortlessly with his friends. Emily tried to join in, but her thoughts kept wandering. Just then, she noticed Jake, Alex's younger brother, leaning against the wall, a playful glint in his eyes. "Hey, Emily, you look like you could use a drink," he called, his voice warm and inviting. Emily raised her glass in acknowledgement, feeling a flicker of excitement. "Just a little bored, that's all," she admitted, trying to keep her tone light. "Come on, let's grab something stronger," Jake suggested, winking at her with a hint of mischief. As they made their way to the kitchen, the air around them felt charged, almost electric. Jake leaned casually against the counter, crossing his arms with a relaxed confidence. "You know, I've always thought you were the coolest sister-in-law," he said, a playful smile dancing on his lips. Emily laughed, feeling the tension ease. "Really? I'm just the one who keeps things in line around here?" "True, but you make it look easy. And you've got this vibe, you know? It draws people in," he said, his gaze holding hers for a moment longer than necessary. She felt her cheeks flush slightly. "That's sweet of you to say." They shared stories, their laughter filling the room as the rest of the party continued around them. Emily felt a connection with Jake that she hadn't anticipated, a spark of chemistry that ignited something deep inside her. "You've been married for a while now, huh? How do you keep the spark alive?" Jake asked, his curiosity genuine. Emily pondered his question, searching for an honest answer. "Sometimes I wonder if we're just going through the motions. I mean, we love each other, but it's not the same as it used to be." Jake nodded thoughtfully, stepping a little closer. "I get that. Life has a way of dulling the shine, doesn't it? But it doesn't have to be that way. You deserve more than just going through the motions." His words struck a chord within her, resonating in a way she hadn't expected. "What do you mean by that?" she asked, intrigued. "Just that you should feel alive. You have so much passion in you, Emily. It shouldn't be bottled up." The way he looked at her made her heart race. She felt an undeniable urge to lean closer, to explore this unexpected connection. But instead, she smiled teasingly. "And how do you propose I do that?" "I don't know," Jake said, smirking. "Maybe by being more adventurous, we could explore some new places together." "Like where?" Emily challenged, a playful glint in her eyes. "Anywhere, just not here," he replied, a spark of excitement lighting up his expression. "Let's go somewhere we can really talk." As they laughed and exchanged playful banter, Emily couldn't shake the feeling that this moment was more than just innocent fun. The chemistry crackled between them, leaving her breathless and questioning everything she thought she knew about her life. Chapter 3: The Unexpected Connection. In the weeks that followed, Emily and Jake found themselves spending more time together under the guise of family outings. Each encounter deepened the connection between them, and Emily began to feel exhilarated by the thrill of their secret. One evening, while strolling through a nearby park, the sun setting behind them, Jake turned to her, his expression serious. "Do you ever feel like you're missing out on something?" he asked, his voice low and inviting, drawing her attention completely. Emily paused, contemplating his words. "All the time, it's like life has settled into a routine. I want something more, but I don't know what." Jake stepped closer, his eyes searching hers. "You deserve more. You're vibrant and beautiful. You shouldn't be stuck in a box." Her heart raced at the intensity of his gaze. "You really think so?" "I know so," he said, brushing his fingers against her arm, igniting a shiver of warmth. "You have this energy that lights up a room." Emily felt herself drawn to him, the magnetic pull undeniable. "I appreciate that, Jake. You make me feel seen in a way I haven't felt in a long time." Jake smiled, his expression softening. "Good, you should feel special. Let me show you how amazing you really are." As they continued to walk, Emily felt a mix of excitement and trepidation. Their conversations became more intimate, and the playful teasing turned into deeper confessions. "You know, I sometimes think about how life could be different," she admitted, her voice barely above a whisper. "Different how?" Jake asked, genuinely curious. "Like if I had made different choices, pursued different paths, maybe I wouldn't be feeling so confined." Jake turned to her, his expression serious yet understanding. "It's never too late to make a change, Emily. You can explore new sides of yourself. You just have to take that leap." His words hung in the air, and for a moment, Emily felt the weight of his gaze on her, almost daring her to imagine a different reality. She could sense the unspoken possibilities lingering between them, and a thrill shot through her. "I don't know, Jake. It's complicated," she said, her heart racing with a mixture of fear and exhilaration. "Life is complicated, but so are we," he said softly, his voice almost a whisper. The air felt thick with tension as they stood close, their breaths mingling in the fading light. Emily's heart raced, torn between the safety of her current life and the exhilarating prospect of something new and thrilling. She was on the brink of something forbidden, and the thought sent shivers down her spine. She began, but before she could finish, Jake took a step closer, his presence overwhelming. "I don't want you to feel trapped, Emily. You're meant for more than this. I can help you find that." Before she could respond, he gently brushed a strand of hair behind her ear, his fingers lingering just a moment too long. The warmth of his touch ignited a fire within her, and she felt herself leaning in, caught between desire and hesitation. "What are we doing, Jake?" she finally managed to ask, her voice trembling. "Exploring possibilities," he replied, his eyes searching hers, filled with an intensity that took her breath away. Chapter 4: Uncharted Territories. The following days were a whirlwind of confusion and longing for Emily. She found herself caught in a web of emotions she hadn't anticipated. Jake's words echoed in her mind, and their last encounter replayed like a movie, leaving her breathless. One afternoon, while shopping for groceries, Emily ran into Claire. "Hey, you look a little distracted. Everything okay?" Claire asked, concern etching her features. "Yeah, just thinking," Emily replied, forcing a smile. "Thinking?" Or overthinking? Claire teased lightly. You know, sometimes we just need to break out of our routines. Let loose a little. Emily laughed, grateful for the distraction. You have a point there. Maybe I need to be more adventurous. Adventurous? You, Claire joked, raising an eyebrow. What's gotten into you? Nothing. I just want to feel alive again, you know? Emily said, her voice reflecting her longing. Then go for it. Take a class, try something new. You've got to live your life, Claire encouraged, placing a hand on Emily's shoulder. And if you ever need someone to join you, just let me know. That evening, as Emily and Alex sat on the couch watching a movie, she felt restless. Alex, can we talk? She asked, her heart racing. Sure, what's up? He replied, glancing away from the screen. I've been thinking, maybe we should do something different. You know, like a new hobby or a class together, she suggested, her voice hopeful yet uncertain. Sounds like a plan. What do you have in mind? Alex asked, genuinely intrigued. Maybe dance lessons, she said, trying to suppress her excitement. Dance lessons, really? He chuckled. Okay, I'm game if you are. As they chatted about potential classes, Emily felt a flicker of hope. Perhaps this could be the spark she was searching for, a way to reignite the passion she felt had dimmed. Yet the thought of Jake lingered in the back of her mind, a tantalizing distraction that was becoming harder to ignore. That night, as Emily lay in bed, she thought about Jake's kiss and the warmth of his touch. The excitement and danger of the connection they shared thrilled her. Could she explore this new part of herself without losing everything she held dear? Chapter 5. The first steps days turned into weeks, and Emily found herself eagerly anticipating her time with Jake. They'd started meeting under the guise of family gatherings, but each encounter felt like a clandestine affair. Their chemistry was undeniable, and with every shared glance and lingering touch, Emily felt more alive than ever. One sunny afternoon, while out for coffee, Jake leaned across the table, his voice low and inviting. What if we took this a step further? You know, just you and me. Emily felt her pulse quicken. What do you mean? She asked, a mix of excitement and apprehension flooding her senses. Let's go to that new art exhibit downtown. Just us. I promise it will be fun, he said, his eyes sparkling with mischief. She hesitated, weighing the thrill against the risk. What if someone sees us? Then let them see. You deserve to enjoy your life, Emily. Besides, we'll be just two friends checking out some art, Jake said, his tone encouraging. After a moment's hesitation, she nodded, her heart racing with anticipation. Okay, let's do it. That evening, they met outside the gallery, the air buzzing with excitement. You look amazing, Jake said, his gaze lingering on her as they walked in. Thanks. You're not so bad yourself, she replied, feeling a flutter in her stomach. As they wandered through the exhibit, they discussed the artwork and shared playful banter, but it was clear that their chemistry was building. Jake leaned closer as they admired a particularly striking piece, his shoulder brushing against hers. What do you think this one represents? He asked, his voice low. Emily felt a shiver run down her spine. I think it represents longing, she said, glancing up at him, their eyes locking for a heartbeat. Longing, huh? I like that interpretation, he said, his voice dropping to a whisper. Maybe it's about wanting something more. Emily felt a surge of excitement at his words. Like what? She asked, teasingly. Like passion. Like freedom, he replied, stepping closer, his breath warm against her ear. Suddenly aware of how close they were, Emily's heart raced. Jake, we can't. Why not? He asked, his expression earnest. What's stopping us? Before she could answer, he reached for her hand, intertwining their fingers. The touch sent a jolt of electricity through her, and she felt her resolve beginning to crumble. I want to feel alive, Emily. I want to explore this connection we have, he said, his voice barely above a whisper. Emily felt her heart race at his words. The thrill of the moment engulfed her, and for the first time in a long time, she felt like she was finally breaking free from her constraints. Chapter 6. The line crossed. The weeks flew by as Emily found herself increasingly entangled in her feelings for Jake. Every encounter left her breathless, and she felt more alive than ever, yet the weight of her choices loomed over her. One evening, after a particularly charged outing, Jake invited her back to his apartment under the pretense of grabbing a drink. As they settled into his cozy living room, the atmosphere felt charged with unspoken tension. Want to listen to some music? Jake suggested, reaching for his speakers. Sure, what do you have? She replied, trying to mask her nervousness. Something that fits the mood, he said, selecting a sultry jazz playlist. The soft melodies filled the room, creating an intimate ambience that made her pulse quicken. As they talked and laughed, Emily felt the boundaries between them blur. Jake leaned in closer, his knee brushing against hers, and she felt a thrill of excitement mixed with apprehension. Emily, he said softly, his voice low, there's something I need to tell you. What is it? She asked, her heart pounding. I can't stop thinking about you. You've become the highlight of my days, he confessed, his gaze locked onto hers. She felt her cheeks flush at his words. I've been thinking about you too, Jake. This connection we have, it feels so intense. Then let's not fight it. Let's explore what this is, he said, inching closer. Jake, it's complicated. I'm married, she reminded him, her voice trembling. I know, but we can't ignore this chemistry. You deserve to feel desired, he replied, his hand brushing against her arm, sending shivers down her spine. The heat between them was undeniable, and Emily felt torn between desire and loyalty. What if we're crossing a line we can't uncross, she whispered. Maybe crossing lines is exactly what you need, he said, leaning closer. What if this is what sets you free? Before she could think further, Jake leaned in and kissed her, a slow, intoxicating kiss that ignited every nerve in her body. She hesitated only for a moment before surrendering to the moment, her heart racing as she kissed him back, feeling as if she were awakening from a long slumber. Chapter 7. The Unraveling. After that night, everything changed for Emily. Each encounter with Jake was filled with a mixture of exhilaration and guilt, leaving her breathless. They continued to meet, each rendezvous becoming bolder and more daring. One evening, as they sat on a park bench beneath the stars, Emily couldn't shake the weight of her choices. This feels amazing, but it's also terrifying, she confessed, her voice trembling. I know, Jake said, his tone serious yet comforting. But isn't it worth it? You deserve to feel alive and wanted. I do. But what about Alex? I love him, she admitted, the guilt creeping in. Jake took her hand, his grip firm. Loving someone doesn't mean you can't explore other sides of yourself. You're a multifaceted person, Emily. As they talked, the tension hung in the air. Emily felt torn between the safety of her marriage and the thrill of her new connection. What if this goes too far? What if someone finds out? She asked, her heart racing. We'll be careful, Jake reassured her. This is our secret, and it can stay that way. Just promise me you won't shut me out. As the weeks went on, Emily found herself juggling the facade of her perfect life while hiding her growing relationship with Jake. She became adept at managing the lies, but each secret felt like a weight on her conscience. One night, while sitting on the couch with Alex, she felt a wave of guilt wash over her. Can I ask you something? She ventured, trying to sound casual. Sure, what's up? Alex replied, glancing up from the TV. Do you ever think about cheating? She asked, her heart pounding. Cheating? No way. Why would I even consider that? He laughed, shaking his head. Just curious, she replied, forcing a smile. But inside, her heart sank as she realized how far she had strayed. Chapter 8. The Crossroads. As time passed, Emily found herself at a crossroads. She loved Alex, but was increasingly drawn to the excitement of her relationship with Jake. Each secret rendezvous fueled her desire, but the weight of her deception began to take its toll. One afternoon, while out for a walk with Claire, Emily felt the urge to confide in her friend. Can I tell you something? Something I've been keeping to myself? She asked, biting her lip. Of course, you know you can trust me, Claire said, concern evident in her eyes. I've been seeing someone who isn't Alex, Emily confessed, her voice barely above a whisper. Claire's eyes widened in shock. Emily, what are you doing? You love Alex. I know, but there's this connection I can't ignore. It feels so alive, so thrilling, Emily admitted, guilt swirling in her stomach. Have you thought about the consequences? Claire asked, her voice serious. This could ruin everything. I know, but I can't help it. It's like I'm living a double life, and it's intoxicating," Emily said, her breath catching in her throat. "Just be careful, okay? You don't want to hurt anyone, least of all yourself," Claire warned. As Emily walked home, Claire's words echoed in her mind. Was the thrill worth the potential heartbreak? She couldn't shake the feeling that she was standing on the edge of a cliff, unsure whether to leap or retreat. That night, as she lay in bed beside Alex, Emily felt a familiar ache in her chest. The contrast between her reality and her secret life had never felt starker. She was torn between the safety of her marriage and the excitement of her connection with Jake. Chapter 9. The Breaking Point. With each passing day, Emily felt herself slipping further away from Alex and deeper into her connection with Jake. The tension was palpable, and she knew she had to make a decision soon. One evening, after a particularly passionate rendezvous, Jake looked at her with intensity. "What are we doing, Emily? Are we just living in this moment, or are we building something more?" he asked, his voice serious. Emily hesitated, feeling the weight of his words. "I don't know. I've never felt this way before, but I can't shake the feeling that I'm betraying Alex," she admitted, her heart racing. "Maybe you're meant to explore this side of yourself. You deserve to be happy, even if it's not with him," Jake said, his gaze unwavering. "But I love Alex," she protested, her emotions swirling. "Do you love him, or are you just comfortable?" Jake countered, his question hanging heavy in the air. Emily felt a wave of confusion wash over her. I don't know anymore. I just feel alive with you, and that's something I haven't felt in a long time." Jake reached for her hand, his grip warm. "Let's not let fear dictate our choices. Life is too short to hold back." As she looked into Jake's eyes, Emily felt a surge of determination. "Maybe you're right. I want to feel alive, but I also don't want to hurt anyone." "Then let's figure this out together," he said softly, his expression earnest. That night, Emily lay awake, torn between two worlds. She had to confront her feelings for Alex and the undeniable pull she felt toward Jake. The breaking point loomed, and she knew it was time to face the truth. Chapter 10. The Choice. In the days that followed, Emily grappled with her emotions, her heart heavy with the weight of her choices. She knew she had to confront Alex about her feelings, but the thought of breaking his heart filled her with dread. One evening, as they shared a quiet dinner, Emily took a deep breath. "Alex, can we talk?" she said, her voice trembling. "Sure, what's on your mind?" he replied, looking concerned. "I've been feeling lost lately. I don't know how to explain it, but I need to be honest with you," she said, her heart racing. "Honest? About what?" he asked, setting down his fork. "I think I've been pulling away from you, and I don't want to lie anymore," she admitted, tears stinging her eyes. "Emily, please don't say that. What's going on?" he pressed, concern etched on his face. "I've met someone else, someone who makes me feel alive," she said, the words spilling out before she could stop them. The silence that followed felt suffocating. "You're seeing someone else? After everything we've built?" Alex's voice was a mixture of shock and hurt. "I never meant for it to happen, but I can't ignore my feelings," she explained, her voice breaking. "Who is he?" Alex demanded, his anger palpable. "It doesn't matter. I need to explore this part of myself," she said, tears streaming down her cheeks. "Explore? Is that what you call this?" he replied, his voice rising. "You're tearing apart our life together for a fling?" "It's not just a fling. It's deeper than that," she cried, feeling the weight of her emotions crash over her. "Do you love him?" he asked, his voice raw. "I don't know," she admitted, feeling a wave of despair wash over her. "I just know that I can't keep living a lie." As they faced each other, Emily realized the magnitude of her choice. She could no longer walk the line between two worlds. It was time to embrace her truth, whatever that may be. Epilogue. The dawn of a new day. In the aftermath of her confession, Emily felt a mix of relief and heartache. Alex had deserved honesty, and while their relationship would never be the same, she felt a weight lift from her shoulders. As she began to navigate her new reality, she and Jake explored their connection more openly, taking tentative steps into the unknown. They shared moments of laughter, passion, and vulnerability, each encounter deepening their bond. Emily learned to embrace the complexity of her emotions, discovering that love could take many forms. She found solace in her friendship with Claire, who offered unwavering support through her journey. While the road ahead was uncertain, Emily felt a renewed sense of hope. She was no longer afraid to explore uncharted territories, and she was ready to embrace whatever lay ahead. In the quiet moments of reflection, she understood that her journey was just beginning, a journey of self-discovery, love, and the beautiful messiness of life.